everyone, and welcome back to Sundays in the Garden. My name is Sarah, and if you're new here, in 2025 I am sharing every single day of my gardening year. That means I am filming every single day of the year. Most of those days are filmed here in my English cottage garden and kitchen garden area, and if I'm not here for any reason, I may be in a garden around the country. I may be out and about doing something else. I've got some exciting things coming up later in the year, which I think people will be really interested to follow along with. So I'm just sharing everything that makes up a gardening year. My aim with sharing every single day is to maybe inspire other people in terms of certain jobs that we can be doing, some solidarity with the trials and tribulations of a gardening year. I'm sharing the highs of the year, the lows of the year, and anything else that makes up a standard gardening year. Standard gardening year. Is there really such a thing? I'm not sure, because we all deal with our own sets of challenges and advantages in our growing spaces, but I just wanted to share what I'm getting up to in the hopes that it would be interesting to some of you. So I film every single day, and then I share a weekly vlog on a Sunday with everything I've been getting up to the previous week. If that sounds like something you might be interested in, I would love for you to subscribe so you can follow along with my gardening year in 2025 and join our growing community as we learn and grow together. Today is Sunday the 30th of March here in the UK, which is the UK Mothering Sunday. So I have been home this morning with my little boy, who people who've been watching for a while will know wasn't very well. He's still on some antibiotics to clear up a little bug he's had. So he has been resting this morning, and then we popped out for a walk, my sisters and I and my mum and dad, to say Happy Mother's Day to my own mum. And now I am back, and I'm going to try and get a few jobs done in the garden before my dinner this evening. Job number one is to sow some busy lizzies, because you can sow those anytime from February to April, I believe, and I haven't got any started yet. And some of my neighbours have requested some busy lizzies, so I'm going to sow some of those, and I'm also going to try and pot on some of my very leggy seedlings. And then we've got some beautiful weather coming up this week, so stay tuned to see how many things I'm able to get done in the garden this week. And we've got some beautiful, beautiful spring sunshine on the way. So this is the time of year that can start to feel quite overwhelming. It definitely can for me anyway, because people who are new, I'm a home educator, so I home educate my two little boys. I teach as well, additionally in the evening, so I have my evenings are pretty busy, my daytimes are pretty busy. So I try to do 15 minutes at lunchtime every day in the garden. But at this time of year, 15 minutes is definitely not enough. So then I have to try and squeeze in pockets of time where I can. Luckily, being a teacher, I do have the Easter holidays off. We're going away for a few days in the Easter holidays, but we should be here a fair bit. So I'm really going to try and crack on with lots of things in the Easter holidays. But if you're feeling overwhelmed too with all of the jobs that need doing, try to take it little and often if you possibly can, or just take one big chunk of time and you'll be really surprised with what you can get done. But I am going to try and pot on a few more seedlings today and then find homes for them in the greenhouse. So I've laid out my pots here, and I'm going to fill these with compost and then transfer these marigolds into the individual pots. So I've now filled up all of these pots with some compost, and I'm going to see if I can move you over here so you can watch from the top down as I try and transfer these marigolds into their new home. Okay, so I think you can see some of this here, so I'll try and work on the area that I believe you can see. But basically, I'm going to start just over here, and some people use a pencil, some people use a dibber. I tend to just try and, if I've got a wide enough area around the seedling, if they're really packed together, then I would use a pencil. But these have got enough space around for me to kind of just lift a fair amount of the seedling out and kind of take some of the compost with it. And as you can see here, this beautiful root coming through the bottom, so we know that we've got the whole little seedling intact. I'm going to choose this one here, make a little finger hole in the middle, just place the whole thing that I've just taken out into the finger hole. If they're really leggy, I can build up some compost around them. I try and move compost to support them so they're in a more upright position. These ones aren't actually too bad. This one in particular is not too bad. So I'm not going to build up the compost too much around it, just a little bit, and it looks absolutely fine. This barely needs any water because I've watered both the seedling and the pot. So I'm just going to move on to the next one. So again, a little hole in the middle. Again, I'm going to go to the seedling and wiggle around the outside of it. bring some compost and the seedling, and I can see again I've got the root because I can see the root coming down, and then move it into the centre of the new pot. This one's a bit more leggy, so I'm going to pinch some compost here and build that up around it, and actually I can go back into the seed tray and find some compost as well to put around the outside just to add that extra support. So I'm going to continue with the same process for all of the rest of these, and I'll bring you back when I'm done. So there we are, all potted on, and now I'm going to pop inside for my dinner and come out and sow some busy lizzies. So I'm back outside, I have had my dinner, and I'm now going to sow some busy lizzies for my neighbours in this seed tray that I've just freed up from the marigolds. I've got these Johnson's Safari Mix busy lizzies, and the instructions say to sow thinly on the top of some compost and not to cover the seedlings. I've got another pack of busy lizzies which say to cover very finely with compost, but these ones actually do specifically say do not cover seed with compost. Just firm in gently and keep the seed tray moist. Cover with glass. So I'm going to use my little propagator lids on this and then take it back inside because it needs to be between 20 and 25 degrees in order to germinate. So house temperature with a little bit of central heating on colder nights should be perfect to germinate these. These seeds are just so tiny. So I'm just going to sprinkle them on the top and then not cover them over. And they should be visible because they're a very different colour to the compost. And there they all are on the surface of the seed tray. So all I'm going to do now is take these seeds inside and cover them with a lid to make a little greenhouse environment for them, keep them nice and warm, wait for them to germinate, and hopefully I'll have some busy lizzies for my neighbours in a few weeks' time. That is all I've got time to do today because the clocks have changed. It's 10 to 6 now. Lovely to still have so much light at 10 to 6. I think the sun isn't due to set until maybe 7:30. I'm not sure, we'll have to check that. But I know it's so much later today than it has been. So that is really, really, really lovely. We'll get so much more garden time in our evenings now that the clocks have changed. Happy Mother's Day to anyone who's celebrating. You'll be watching this next Sunday, but I hope you had a brilliant day last Sunday celebrating Mother's Day. And I will see you again tomorrow. On Tuesday it was another beautiful day, so I spent some time clearing and harvesting the last of the Brussels sprouts and tidying up this bed ready for a project I was hoping to complete later in the week. The purple sprouting broccoli I planted in the autumn did not fare well over winter, so I decided to cut my losses and clear this bed. In doing so, I found some self-seeded leeks, so I kept these and potted them up, ready to plant back out with my other leeks in a few weeks' time. Golden hour ended with a visit from a tiny furry friend, much to the delight of my two little boys. As the weather was so beautiful, we took the opportunity to eat our lunch outside on Tuesday. Whilst they were waiting, my little boys looked through some bird identification and butterfly identification leaflets. There are so many to spot in our garden. Hello everyone! Happy Tuesday! Very happy Tuesday! Look at the weather. It is 38 degrees in the greenhouse today, which is just amazing and actually rather warm. But the sunshine is just beautiful. And after we finished our bookwork this morning, we came outside and I potted around a little bit. And then we had our lunch in the garden for the first time this year, which was really lovely. I'm now going to spend 15 minutes potting on a few more leggy seedlings. And then fingers crossed, we haven't got any plans for this afternoon, so we might try and spend a bit more time outside in the garden before I begin my evening teaching when my husband finishes work. So I'll bring you along for what I'm able to film, and let's see what we can get done on this gloriously sunny day. Okay, so I've got a tiny bit more space in here now. Things that need potting on are getting quite overwhelming. Luckily these marigolds are done, so that's great. But I do still need to finish off the cosmos because I would like to keep all of those. Plus, I've got these lovely cornflowers that are going completely leggy in the house. These are my granddad's cornflowers, so they're extremely important. So I'm going to have a go at potting these on now, bless them. The ones in the greenhouse here are looking much better because they're not nearly so leggy because they've been outside. Perhaps I should have just left these guys all outside, but we'll give them a go and hope that they pot on okay. So there we go, I've potted on the cornflower seedlings that were inside to give them all that bit more space and so they can continue to grow on out here in the greenhouse. And fingers crossed I'll have some lovely cornflowers to take somewhere very exciting in a few weeks' time. After finishing the cornflowers, I took my extra broad bean seedlings outside to plug any gaps in the broad bean bed. Much better. I also potted on some of my chilies and then took a moment to enjoy the beautiful tranquility of the kitchen garden at golden hour. Hello everyone! Happy sunny Wednesday! More potting on to do. I've got these cucumbers which are looking really leggy, but they have also got lots of the little white dots at the base which show that they are trying to produce some more roots. So I'm going to pot them on much deeper and then that will give them a chance to grow on really strongly. Then I spent some time in the sunshine constructing a new archway for the kitchen garden. It's going to be good, isn't it? Then, with a few minutes left, I decided to try to repurpose this old broken structure. I took it apart, carefully removing all of the dangerous nails and screws, ready to try an exciting project tomorrow. Bright and early on Thursday morning, I went up to the kitchen garden to begin building my sweet pea wall. First of all, I put in this stake, and then I took the 2 trellises I had divided yesterday and placed them in next to it. I then took some twine and tied the trellises to the stake to hopefully give it some support. And then I went into the greenhouse to collect the sweet peas. I've planted them pretty densely here because I'm hoping for a really dramatic impact and a real wall effect of sweet peas. I've seen some fantastic ones on Instagram, so fingers crossed we're enjoying something similar in a few months' time. Hello everyone, happy Thursday. It's been a busy day today. I think I've already filmed myself doing the sweet pea structure this morning. So you've probably seen that just a moment ago. And I've managed to get a few other jobs done, not too many today, but a few others which I can show you briefly now. Okay, so first of all, I'm in the greenhouse, and just down here I've managed to pot on my nigellas, which were really leggy, so I've buried them a bit deeper and they're all potted on. Up here on the top, I've got the cosmos, which again, remember I needed to pot on a few more because I had those ones up there, and there was a few more that needed potting on, so they are now potted on as well. What else have I done? What's down there? Oh yes, I had some kale inside, which I've now, they're just tiny, but they needed to come outside, so I've popped those into some bigger pots. So that's some scarlet kale down there. I've still got a few sweet peas left inside here, which I might put into a pot down by the house to enjoy. Potatoes are looking great. I need to get my next potatoes main crop in pretty soon, and I need to earth these guys up as well, so that's a job for the next few days. I've also been checking on the dahlias, which are under here, keeping a daily check on them, and down here we now have 2 that are popping up, so they've come out so they can get some extra light. And then coming up here, I have also put in the second arch, so I now have the 2 arches here, which is great. So that's the job done. The sweet peas, as you saw earlier, they're over there, and things are looking pretty good and ready for the growing season. So I'm going to have to draw a little plan here, have a look through my seed box again and just check I know what is going where in here, because it'll quickly fill up. So it's been a busy day, but managed to get quite a lot done, which is really good. And it's been a classic April day really of potting on and getting things ready. The one thing I haven't done today, which I really would like to do very soon, is get all of my April sowings started. So hopefully I will get to that over the weekend. Tomorrow we've got classes for my little boys, we've got an eye test for one of my little boys, we've got a visit out to see a friend. So I don't know if much seed sowing is going to happen tomorrow, but hopefully I can maybe get some sowings done in my lunch break. So stay tuned for that tomorrow and I'll see what I manage to get done. Have a lovely Thursday evening and I'll see you tomorrow. Hello everyone, it's Friday and it's sunny and we've got the longer evenings, so I am out here. It is 10 to 6 and that's an exciting Friday evening in my late 30s. I have a beer, I have a lovely new book that my mum bought me back from a trip that she went on to Hay-on-Wye, the book town, with my sister, so I might share a little bit of something from in here, and my seed tin ready to sow some of my April seeds. This is how we do exciting Friday nights in our late 30s. So first of all, I'm going to have a flick through the book that Mum got me and see if I can share some gardening wisdom. This is The Gardener's Friend, Miscellany of Wit and Wisdom by Leslie Masters. There's loads of lovely things in here. I've only had a quick scan through so far. Got the benefits of gardening. But what did I see? This one I really liked. I used to visit and revisit it a dozen times a day, and stand in deep contemplation over my vegetable progeny with a love that nobody could share or conceive of who had never taken part in the process of creation. Nathaniel Hawthorne, Mosses from an Old Manse. Love that one. Another lovely one. A garden is a grand teacher. It teaches patience and careful watchfulness. It teaches industry and thrift. Above all, it teaches entire trust. Gertrude Jekyll. Okay, and one more. The many great gardens of the world, of literature and poetry, of painting and music, of religion and architecture, all make the point as clear as possible. The soul cannot thrive in the absence of a garden. Thomas More. Lovely. Just love these. That's going to be some bedtime reading for me this evening. Thank you, Mum and Dad, for picking that up for me, and hope you had a brilliant trip to Hay on Wye, all three of you. Now, time to look through the seed tin and see what needs sowing. I'm guessing quite a lot. Okay, I've just gone through all of the seeds I want to sow this month, and the pile is huge, so I'm not going to get all of these done tonight, but let's go through what I'm going to sow. Okay, the first two things I've got are peas, and I've got two varieties of peas I'm going to sow in April, and they are these, which are purple magnolia peas from Seedcraft, which was a subscription service I used up until Christmas. And then we've got these ones as well, which are just Duce Provence unwins, and I'm going to get these sown as well to plant up a second pea structure in the bed behind the one that I set up for my sweet peas. So that's peas. Secondly, I've got runner beans. These are my own saved seeds from last year, and I had the runner beans growing up the archway, so I'll probably do the same again with these. So runner beans, maybe sown this week, maybe next. Next, carrots. And I'm not sure which carrots I'm going to sow yet. I need to go through these. I've got some early Nance. These ones I have got. These are definitely going to be sown. I'm going to put these in that large green bucket bin. What would we call it? Oil can? It was a can. A fruit juice can, very large. These are the wonderful large carrots from She Grows Veg. So we're going to put these out very soon in their very own special growing space. And then I've got a whole variety of other carrots. So I'm going to sow these directly in the beds where I want them to grow. I'm maybe going to try putting a few between my onions and garlic, because apparently that's quite good to ward off the carrot root fly. So that's going to be an experiment. And then I'll put some others in another area, which I will cover as normal. So that's carrots, and also parsnips. They're going to go in as well. And I'll pop those next to the carrots. Next up, squash. So last year I had these, which were these small sugar pumpkins, and they were lovely, and they were trying to grow up one of my archways, but they aren't traditionally grown upwards. But I don't think I'm going to grow these this year, so I will keep these in case I want to sow them next year. But what I am going to grow this year are pumpkin little gem, and this one can climb hopefully up an archway because it's only teeny, so fingers crossed we'll try it. And also I've got Jack B. Little, which are very famous for climbing up archways, and a sweet dumpling, which is also apparently really small and able to climb up an archway. So each of these three are going to be grown with a view to climbing up my new archway that I put in yesterday. Next up we have courgettes, and I've got the Trombetta de Albania, which is one of the kind of traditional climbing courgettes that are slightly different shape, like the Tromboncinos. And then just a regular zucchini courgette that I am going to grow in the beds as I do every year. So these are very similar to the ones I grow every year. So some traditional looking courgettes and some Trombetta de Albania, which were from Thomas Etty. Check him out, he's fantastic. And we met him in person at a seed swap we went to. Handpicked. The Heritage Seedsman and Bulb Merchant, Thomas Etty. You can find him on Instagram, I believe. Next, I'm going to sow some basil, which I will plant underneath the tomatoes in the greenhouse when they get planted out. I'm going to direct sow some nasturtiums under the 2 archway areas because I love these under the archways. I haven't seen any popping up just yet, but it might be a little early. But I'm expecting them to have self-seeded a bit from last year, but I'm going to sow some more in case they haven't. Next up, we have the salad bed, and I'm going to put 2 varieties of radish in there, the Lucia F1s and the Royal Purples. And then I'm also going to sow lettuce. I've got some lettuce already started, so that's going to get planted out. And then in between rows, I'm going to sow next sowings of Sulfita, this one, and also Kirio, which is a green one. And also new to the garden this year, the Tom Thumb lettuces, because they look really cute. So I'm going to try those as well. So that's salad. Then we've got flowers. Flowers I've already got growing. Cosmos. What else? Sweet peas. Marigolds, cornflowers, sunflower, although I need to sow a few more if I can find my sunflower seeds. What else? Do we have any other flowers? And dahlias, of course. But I'm also going to sow these 3 poppies because they're all slightly unusual. And I got them from the press event, the garden press event, and they are from crocus. We have the opium poppy, the purple one. We have the Beth's poppy, which is this really cute pink one. Single petal, single flower, single petals. And then we have Amazing Grey poppy, which actually looks blue. It's this one. So all of these are new to the garden, and I'm going to sow all of these, potentially directly where I want them to grow. I know where I'm going to put those. And finally, Ami Majus Graceland. I'm going to pop that in a few places around the garden to be sown directly where I want them to grow, because these are beautiful and new to the garden as well. So because of all my waffling, it is now 6:05 and we will be fast losing light. So I'm just going to see what I can get sown, and I'll let you know at the end what I've managed to do. Right, so far I have got little gem pumpkins and some sweet dumpling pumpkins planted. I've gone for 6 of each because if they all germinate, I will have more than enough. And probably have to get rid of a few. I probably want, I don't know, 4 of each. I'm thinking of the space on the arches, maybe even less. So that should be more than enough for those 2. And I've noticed on the Jack Be Littles it says sow May, so I might leave it another few weeks and go for mid-April. Because otherwise we'll have them too early. So Jack Be Little I'm going to sow in a few weeks' time. These ones say sow April, so they are sown. And I think I'm going to move on to courgettes. And I think I've got time. The sun is getting low, but I think I've got time to sow some courgettes. So I'm going to do that now as well. Okay, so I've got 3 of the standard courgettes and 3 of the Thomas Etty Trombetto climbing courgettes. So that should be enough for the spaces I'm going to grow them in. So I'm going to leave those to go. And finally, before I go in, the sun is now below where I can see, but not fully down yet. So I'm going to sow the basil as well. And that's the basil sown. So we have some pumpkins started, some courgettes started, and now some basil as well. I've also got lots to direct sow over the weekend, as well as my peas to start. And my little boys and husband are having a brilliant time playing in the sunshine at 10 to 7 in the evening, and they've just spotted the first newt of the year in the pond. So spring is really here. Happy Friday, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Two of them.
Oh my god.
3 of them. Oh my gosh, there's so many.
That's the one I saw. Look at it.
Happy Saturday! As you can see, I've been on a bit of a side quest today because I had planned to sow some more of the seeds from last night, but I was out working this morning, arrived home, and Sutton's had delivered the potato vine solanum, and so I wanted to get that in the ground as soon as possible. And then the place I wanted to put it, I was going to just move the compost bay along a bit, but I opened up the compost bin and realised it was full of not very composted material, so I decided to give up on that because we need to think of a new composting system anyway, because it doesn't really work where it was. So sorted that out, cleared that, put the solanum in and tidied it around a little bit up there. I've also earthed up the potatoes down here because they're getting taller, and given everything a water, and that is all I've got time for today. But tomorrow I am off to an allotment sale nearby, so I will take you with me for that one. And I'm taking the remainder of my little tomatoes, which are all doing really well and getting quite big, and as well as anything else I can see that potentially could go with me. So that is what I'm going to do tomorrow morning, get ready for that, and then head off and see if I can make some more money for Marie Curie. So have a lovely evening, everyone. Have a lovely week, because I think this is the end of this week's video, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye!